I don't know exactly why, but I feel kind of compelled to give a little plug for the day of the week of Friday as a CC Community Day. So I know lots of you out there hear about communities that are on Fridays and you're like, Friday? What? That sounds terrible for whatever reason. So I want to share with you because our community is a Friday community. We're in our 8th year, and all 8 years have been on a Friday. I love it. In our area, we have a Monday community, a Tuesday community, a Thursday community, and actually 2 Friday communities. We do not have a Wednesday community. And as I've been online, I'm sure Wednesday communities exist. They seem less common, and I don't exactly know why. Maybe because lots of church activities happen on Wednesdays, and so maybe churches don't often want a homeschool group there on the same day that church is going to happen. Maybe directors don't want to have it on a Wednesday because then doing CC and church that night is a long day. So I'm not exactly sure, but I want to tell you some of the benefits of Friday because I truly think a lot of people just don't think about it and they just automatically discount Fridays because it's the end of the week and they think, oh, I won't be able to vacation if we're meeting on a Friday. Number one, that is the number one thing, is how it affects travel. So we take breaks, right? We take breaks every 6 weeks. Even once you get to challenge, you have at least a break every 6 weeks, if not a couple extras in there for holidays and other things. So it's pretty easy to plan around those breaks. So for like your family vacations and things that are under your control, it's very easy to plan around those breaks. And during those breaks, you have 2 weeks off. So that's a really long time, and it's really easy to plan around. Now, for things that are outside of your control, for instance, we are part of Trail Life USA, and there is lots of camping that happens. So obviously, they are not planning around our CC schedule. So there are many, and they camp out once a month. So most of those campouts happen on weekends where we have CC. So they have CC, and then they go immediately to the camp out for the weekend. But it's okay. It works. It's totally fine. And it really has not been an issue. Yes, of course, sometimes it's a little irritating, but life is not perfect. There's not going to be a perfect situation. Another thing that I hear is, it takes away the potential for a 3-day weekend, to which I say, what's wrong with Monday? Why can't Monday be your 3-day weekend? Why does Friday have to be your 3-day weekend? I don't know. The things that I love, love, love about Friday, I love having 4 days at home, and then your last day of school for the week is CC, because for a couple reasons. Number one, community day, even for an extrovert, I am an extrovert, is exhausting. It's exhausting. I am a director, so it's particularly exhausting. I'm sure it would be less exhausting if I wasn't also leading, but it's exhausting. So going home that night and knowing I do not have to get up and do school with these kids is wonderful. So I love ending my week with CC. As far as the kids go, they love CC. Even my challenge student who is in high school loves CC and does not consider it a school day. He still doesn't. He's always said that, even as a little kid. He's like, CC's not school, it's fun. He still says that, even though he's in this higher level program called Challenge, he still considers it not school. So he doesn't. Anyway, so we love ending our week that way. Especially for Challenge, it's really, really nice because you spend all week, Monday through Thursday, doing your assignments, and then you come to class on Friday and you talk about what you worked on. So it's fresh and that kind of thing. And so for Essentials, it's a little bit different because you go to class on Friday, learn the new things, and then you don't start working with it until Monday. And so I've heard like a parent mention that, like, I forgot what we did in class, but that really isn't an issue for very long. It might be a little bit of an issue for a first-year parent who the information is brand new for. But as soon as you are not a first-year parent, you already know the content, and it's just not an issue. And so then again, there you have 4 days that you can work on your paper for 4 days and then turn it in on Friday. So it just works out so neatly. Mondays have always seemed like would be such a tough day because there's always some sort of prep. So like as a director, there's prep that I do the night before CC that I cannot do any other night unless I want piles of stuff all over my house. So that prep would happen on Sunday nights. And if you have a challenge student who's working on assignments, or even a Foundations Essential student who's working on their presentation or some sort of memorization thing, they've got to be practicing over the weekend, and especially on Sunday if they're going to be presenting it on Monday. So that means that you are doing school and school stuff on Sunday, which stinks to me. That stinks. Otherwise, I'm sure it's great, because then you spend Tuesday through Friday. So it's similar to what I was saying. You have those whole 4 days uninterrupted to work on your schoolwork. So that part is good. But the fact that you're doing so much prep work over the weekend, potentially finishing up assignments, things like that, would stink. Also, there are several holidays that are on Monday. There's Good Friday that some years affects us, but most of the years it doesn't. Just depends on when Easter falls. But otherwise, there are plenty of Monday holidays, or at least a few, where you would need to take off, so that can lengthen your year. My first CC community was a Tuesday, and I only was there for 2 years, for kindergarten and first grade of my oldest son's schooling, and it was fine. It didn't matter to me at his age. At this point, I still think it would be odd to go to CC on a Tuesday, work for 3 days, have a break for 2 days over the weekend, come back, work one more day. But it would be fine. I think it would be totally fine. You would get used to that routine of doing that. Now, one thing to consider, my son, he's pretty self-motivated, mostly because he wants to be done. He loves to learn, but he also kind of feels the weight of the schoolwork, so he likes being done. Mondays he has recognized is really hard for him, because he knows he's got all this work to do this week. And to have, and then he said, because it feels to him like it's been 3 days since he was last doing schoolwork, because he's counting Friday as not school, even though we're at CC, and then Saturday and Sunday. So he's thinking to himself, it's been 3 days since we had school, and so coming back Monday is just extra tough. So if you've got a Tuesday community, then Wednesday is going to be your day back, but then you also had that break over the weekend. So it's almost like, I don't know, to me it would seem like you've got 2 times in the week that you kind of have to reset. And so that doesn't sound awesome to me. Wednesday would probably be fine. I don't know. You could see it as like a midweek break. I'm sure you would get used to it just fine. Thursday, very similarly to Tuesday, but something that I've heard from challenge students in a Thursday group is that because you're so exhausted after CC, a lot of them do not do work on Fridays. They just go ahead and start their weekend, which means they are putting most of their challenge work into 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, to be prepared for their Thursday community. So that does not sound good to me at all. So it seems like once you get into those challenge years, that Thursday would be a tougher day of the week. I am sure that there are lots and lots of pros and cons to every single day. And in many, many cases, the director did not have a choice of what day to meet. It was based on the facility's availability. And so it wasn't their choice. And I'm sure that most people grow to love their day of the week, or at minimum tolerate it just fine. I actually didn't choose Fridays myself, and at first Fridays were the day that we did field trips and went and did fun things, and so I had to switch that to another day of the week, which guess what, you can totally do. It's not a big deal. I can't tell you the number of times I've heard people say, I wouldn't do Friday because that's the day that we go on field trips. I'm like, just pick a different day. You can do field trips any day of the week. But anyway, I was surprised to realize how much I loved Fridays. There are a few cons, but I feel like the pros of the Friday outweigh the cons. So anyway, it's really a moot point, and really this is a silly conversation unless you actually have a choice in what day of the week you have. And so like in our area, there are so many CC communities that you would have a choice of what day to meet on. You could, if you thought you had a preference of day to meet, you could go visit those communities first and see if the community vibe is something that you like. And if so, then yay, your day of the week preference and the vibe match up. But sometimes you live in an area where there's just one choice or two choices and neither of them you like or whatever. But you just do it, and you'll get used to it, and it'll be totally fine, and you'll adjust, and it'll become part of your routine, and everything will be just fine. So I don't know. I think part of me wanting to do these videos is just to be able to verbalize some of these crazy thoughts that I always have. And this was one that came up into my mind recently. I was like, I want to talk about Fridays because I feel like Fridays get a bad rap. I love Fridays though. So at this point, I would be hard pressed to switch to another day of the week, even if I had the choice. So, Friday! Tell me in the comments what you think. Don't be too mean.